I wrote this book, Expensive Sentences. You all got a copy. And I wrote it really to address this, and because I wanted people to be aware of these phrases and the costs that were associated with them, and also to have some tools to kind of get through them to better decisions. What's interesting is that since I finished the book and I've been out sort of sharing about it, I think my eyes have been opened to even more of the damage these expensive sentences do, and not always in ways that I'd expect. At one event, a doctor came up to me afterwards, and he said, in his perspective, a lot of medical diagnoses were expensive sentences. And he said, somebody would get a diagnosis and that would very much drive their treatment, their care, but sometimes that wasn't always optimal for the patient. But he saw how this had that such power that it really kept somebody kind of on rails on a certain track. At a men's group I spoke at, a gentleman stood up, he was probably 20 years older than I, and he recounted the story of how in 3rd grade he heard his teacher tell his parents that he was not smart. And that haunted him for decades and really stole his self-confidence. I did a podcast with a woman who works with a lot of disadvantaged youth, and she says the sentences that she hears that just break her heart on an ongoing basis are when young people say, well, look, that's the only job I can get, or I don't have any other options. And their view of their future is just so limited. Now, if you've studied anything like limiting beliefs or self-talk, you know that our words can be incredibly powerful. And to a large extent, we really do create our reality with our words. I was talking a few weeks ago with a friend of mine, and he'd read the book, and he was saying he liked it, and he said, yeah, I love what you did with the title. I love the wordplay in the title. I said, oh, really? Okay, well, what is it you love about the wordplay in the title? And he said, well, you're talking about sentences that we say or that we write, but it's really also kind of like jail sentences because they condemn us and they imprison us. And I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. He said, you didn't really unpack it in the book, but, I guess you're being kind of subtle about it. So I said, yeah, I didn't want to hit people over the head with it, just didn't want to be too preachy or anything, but I just, it's there. But it's true, isn't it? I mean, the sentences that we say, they can have a great cost, certainly at work, certainly with our finances, but in lots of other ways as well.